Welcome back to the Unsearching Series. Today we enter a space that most of us spend our lives trying to avoid, a space called suffering. This word carries a weight that can silence a room, and yet it is here, in this raw and aching place, that some of the greatest truths of our existence are waiting to be uncovered. Let us begin. Part 1. The Cosmic Question. There is a question that sits quietly beneath the noise of our daily lives. It often emerges not when things are going well, but in those hollow moments when everything we thought we could rely on suddenly collapses. Maybe it appears in the sterile silence of a hospital room, where a parent stands helpless beside their child's fragile body, or in the quiet darkness of a bedroom after receiving a diagnosis that rearranges the future. Or perhaps it arrives in the aftermath of betrayal, when someone we trusted chooses to leave, taking with them the pieces of a life we thought was shared. The question arrives without warning, and once it does, it lingers. Why? Why do we suffer? Why must pain visit those who did no wrong? Why must children cry from hunger or war? Why must someone with a kind heart endure chronic illness? What kind of universe permits this? And more deeply, what kind of God? These are not philosophical puzzles. They are cries from the depths of the human spirit. Cries that have echoed through every generation. You can hear them in ancient psalms, in sacred chants, in the poetry of mystics, and even in the silent scream behind closed eyes. We ask not only as individuals, but as a species seeking meaning in a world that so often feels unkind. But when we begin to ask these questions through the lens of the soul rather than the personality, something begins to shift. The spiritual traditions of the world offer a strange and often uncomfortable response: that suffering is not meaningless, it is not arbitrary, and it is not a mistake. They say that pain, in its most sacred form, is not punishment, but process. Just as fire does not hate the iron it burns, suffering is not an act of cruelty. It is a forge, a place where the density of the ego, the illusions we cling to, and the walls we build around the heart are gradually softened by heat. The process is uncomfortable, sometimes excruciating, but the result is strength, depth, clarity, qualities that comfort alone cannot cultivate. It is a difficult truth to accept, especially in moments of agony. But this truth has been whispered by saints, sages, and survivors across time, that through suffering, we are not being broken, we are being revealed. Art 2, the sacred heat of transformation. There are times in life when everything familiar is stripped away. The job is lost. The marriage dissolves. A beloved parent, child, or partner passes on. Or maybe it is more subtle, the slow erosion of joy, the creeping numbness that seeps into the heart even when life looks fine from the outside. It is in these times that we find ourselves engulfed in something that feels like fire. It is not a literal flame, but something that burns all the same. It strips us bare. It scorches through our identity. The stories we once told about who we are no longer make sense. The future we planned turns to ash. Even the God we once prayed to might feel silent or absent. And yet, something strange happens in that fire. If we do not run from it, if we do not distract ourselves, if we do not numb or deny it, if we let it burn, something within us begins to change. The spiritual traditions speak of this fire with reverence, not fear. In the Hindu tradition, it is called tapas, the heat generated by inner effort, discipline, endurance, and devotion. This heat is not physical, but spiritual. It is the warmth that arises in the soul when we choose to stay present with our pain rather than abandon it. It is the sacred tension of transformation. Christian mystics describe this process as the dark night of the soul. a long and disorienting passage through which the soul is emptied of everything it clung to. The light of understanding disappears, the comforts of belief are stripped away, and one walks in darkness, not knowing when or if dawn will ever return. But those who pass through it speak of something miraculous. That when the light returns, it is not the same light. It is not borrowed light from another. It is the light of God, discovered within. Modern psychology has begun to validate what ancient mystics have always known. There is now a name for what happens when a person grows after loss, trauma, or grief. It is called post-traumatic growth, the phenomenon in which, after devastation, something deeper takes root. Individuals report a greater appreciation for life, more meaningful relationships, a stronger sense of inner strength, a reevaluation of priorities, and often a spiritual awakening that had never seemed necessary before. Think of a forest after fire. At first, it looks dead, charred, lifeless. But if you wait, something beautiful happens. Certain seeds only sprout after intense heat. The soil, purified by flame, becomes fertile ground. What emerges is not a return to what was, but the birth of something new, more resilient, more diverse, more alive. Suffering, when held in consciousness, acts the same way. It does not just break down, it prepares. It rearranges the soil of the soul for a deeper kind of life. But this is not about romanticizing pain. It is not about seeking it out or pretending to be grateful for tragedy while still inside its grip. It is about recognizing the possibility within it, the potential, the sacredness of what might be born from it if we allow it to do its work. There is a choice we are given in every moment of difficulty: to resist and collapse inward, or to lean into the fire and allow it to refine us. The fire of suffering can destroy, yes, but it can also illuminate. It can strip us down to what is real. And when everything else falls away, what remains is not ruin, it is truth. Part 3. The Great Forgetting. There is a silence that lives beneath every scream, a stillness beneath every storm. And within that stillness, a single truth waits patiently to be remembered. We were never truly separate. But somewhere along the way, we forgot. This forgetting did not happen all at once. It was not loud or obvious. It did not come with warning bells or sirens. It came gradually, like mist rolling in over a once familiar landscape, blurring the outlines of who we are and why we are here. We were born with a kind of memory already intact, a memory of connection, a memory of being part of something much greater than ourselves. Look into the eyes of a newborn, and you can still see it there, the softness, the purity, the unbroken awareness that life is not something we possess, but something we are. But then, life begins to teach us a different lesson. We are given names, roles, expectations. We are told who we should be, how we should act, what is worthy of love, and what is not. We begin to shrink ourselves to fit these molds, even if they never quite feel right. Slowly, layer by layer, our sense of self becomes constructed, a persona built for survival, not authenticity. And so the great forgetting begins. We forget that our worth is intrinsic, not earned. We forget that our aliveness is sacred, not conditional. We forget that we are eternal consciousness in temporary form, not the roles we play, the jobs we hold, or the bodies we inhabit. This forgetting is the root of all suffering, because when we believe ourselves to be separate from each other, from the earth, from the divine, we begin to fear. We fear loss, we fear rejection, we fear death. And from this fear arises competition, comparison, violence, greed, and despair. The businessman who defines himself by the size of his bank account may one day find it empty and believe himself empty too. The mother who sacrifices everything for her children may one day feel invisible and wonder if she ever existed beyond the roles she filled. The elder, who once stood proud and strong, may find her body frail, her voice trembling, and question what remains when everything she once identified with fades away. These are the faces of the great forgetting, and yet the soul never forgets. Even as we move through life wearing the masks we've inherited, there is something deep within us that aches for truth, a quiet yearning for wholeness, even when we do not yet have the words to describe what we are missing. The ancient traditions knew this yearning well. The Buddhists called it avidya, ignorance of our true nature. The early Christian mystics spoke of it as the fall, not a sin, but a descent into illusion. The Sufi poets wrote of it as the beloved calling to us in dreams, whispering through every moment of joy and sorrow, "Remember me." And now, even modern science echoes these sacred truths. Neuroscientists have discovered a part of the brain called the default mode network, a system that maintains our sense of self, our past, our future, our separateness. This network is most active when we are doing nothing, just resting in thought. But when we meditate, pray, or enter states of deep spiritual presence, this network quiets down. And in that stillness, many report feeling connected to each other, to nature, to something beyond words. Could it be that the self we think we are is a kind of construction? Could it be that awakening is less about becoming something new and more about remembering what we always were? If so, then suffering, the great interrupter of comfort and routine, plays a pivotal role. Suffering cracks the shell. It loosens the grip of the false self. It makes space for something real to emerge. This is why the soul, in its infinite wisdom, allows the forgetting, not as punishment, but as a path. Because only through forgetting can the beauty of remembering be fully known. Only through darkness can the brilliance of light be seen. Only through separation can the longing for union be born. And in that longing, the return. And so the question changes. It is no longer, why am I in pain? It becomes, what part of me is ready to be remembered? Let that question echo gently within you, not as judgment, not as pressure, but as invitation, because what you are seeking is already within you. It has always been. You have simply forgotten. And now, perhaps the time has come to remember. Art 4. The fire that refines. There is something ancient within you that already knows how to endure. It does not live in your thoughts. It lives in your marrow. It is the part of you that has made it through every loss, every grief, every collapse. The part that does not flinch when the world grows quiet and hard. The part that does not speak loudly, but watches, waits, and remembers. This part of you knows the fire, not as an enemy, but as a sculptor. There are seasons of life where the fire comes uninvited. A diagnosis, a betrayal, the death of someone you cannot live without, the slow unraveling of everything that used to feel stable. We do not ask for these things. We would never wish them upon another. And yet, here they are. The fire has arrived, and now it begins its work. The first thing fire does is reveal what cannot last. The old structures fall away, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. The identity you built so carefully begins to shake. The plans you made begin to dissolve, and it can feel like everything you are is being erased. But watch closely, because the fire is not cruel. It is honest. It burns away illusion. It consumes falsehood. It does not destroy what is real. It reveals it. Just as gold is refined in flame, the soul too becomes more visible in adversity. The excess melts off. The distractions are silenced. And what remains is something essential. Something eternal. Something you did not even know you carried until the fire showed you. This is why two people can endure the same external storm and emerge entirely different. One may close in, turn bitter, calcify. The other may soften, open, expand. What makes the difference is not the fire itself, but the posture of the heart within it. There are those who enter suffering with fists clenched, screaming, "Why me?" And there are those who, even in their trembling, ask instead, "What is this showing me?" Neither response is wrong. Pain does not require perfection, but it does respond to awareness. It responds to presence. And the more conscious we become in our suffering, the more refined our transformation becomes. Think of the mother who loses a child and from her grief builds a foundation that supports thousands of others. Think of the man who, after years of addiction, becomes the one person who truly understands the pain of those still in it. Think of the elderly woman whose life has been marked by unimaginable sorrow, yet whose presence alone brings peace wherever she goes. Not because she is untouched by suffering, but because she has been touched by it so deeply that she became transparent to love. These people did not escape the fire. They became holy through it, and the fire, once feared, became their teacher. Across spiritual traditions, we see this again and again. In Christianity, there is the promise that we are refined by fire, that our faith, tested like precious metal, becomes purer through trial. In Buddhism, the lotus grows only in the mud, not in spite of it, but because of it. In Sufism, the lover is burned by longing until only union remains. And in ancient alchemy, the entire process of transformation begins not with light, but with darkness, with the blackening, with the undoing. We are not meant to avoid these seasons. We are meant to walk through them with eyes open, with hearts, even if broken, still willing to feel. Because the fire does not just refine us, it introduces us to ourselves. It is in the fire that you meet the parts of you that do not yield, that do not flee, that do not die. The part of you that remains steady when everything else falls apart. The part of you that cannot be burned. We live in a world that tells us to avoid pain at all costs, to numb it, bury it, outpace it. But the soul knows better. The soul does not seek comfort. It seeks truth. And truth, more often than not, is born in fire. This fire is not a punishment. It is a turning point, a threshold, a moment when your life as you once knew it is transformed into something deeper, not because of what you lost, but because of what you discovered in the losing. Let us not fear the fire. Let us meet it with reverence, because in the end, it is not here to consume us. It is here to reveal who we truly are. Part 5. The Alchemy of Adversity. Some say adversity is the curse of the human condition. Others say it is the crucible of the soul. But those who have lived through great sorrow and lived to tell the truth of it often speak in a different tone altogether, a quiet tone, a reverent one. They say adversity changed them, not instantly, not easily, not without resistance or tears, but over time, in ways they never expected. Suffering became the soil in which something new took root, a wisdom that comfort alone could never have given, a compassion that only pain could have carved, a strength that did not roar but endured. This is what the ancient mystics called alchemy, not the magic of turning metals to gold, but the sacred process of transforming inner darkness into light. In alchemical language, every transformation begins in blackness. This stage is called nigredo, the blackening. It is the death of the known self, the collapse of the ego's illusions, the moment when the map disintegrates and we are left standing in an unknown land with nothing to rely on but breath. This is not a failure. This is the beginning, because what cannot survive the blackening was never meant to stay, and what survives it is real. After the darkness comes albedo, the whitening. Clarity returns in fragments. The fog begins to lift. A new vision emerges, tender and unsure. We begin to see with the eyes of the soul. Old habits fall away. Simplicity returns. And in that simplicity, peace begins to whisper again. Then comes citrinitas, the yellowing, the arrival of wisdom. Not the wisdom of books or experts, but the kind that rises from the ashes of one's own life. It is the moment when we begin to sense a deeper order, a larger purpose. We understand that what broke us also prepared us. And though the pain is not forgotten, it no longer defines us. It has become sacred material, integrated into our becoming. Finally, rubedo, the reddening, the soul's full expression. This is the return of light, not as a borrowed flame, but as an inner radiance, a wholeness. A quiet power that no longer needs to prove or explain itself. We do not return to who we were. We emerge as who we were always meant to be. This ancient path is not confined to the past. We see it mirrored in modern healing. Psychologist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross mapped the terrain of grief in 5 stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. These are not rules, they are markers. They are invitations to notice that suffering moves. It breathes, it flows, and as we allow it, it transforms. Post-traumatic growth, now recognized by science, confirms this spiritual wisdom. It shows that in the aftermath of hardship, people often discover a deeper appreciation for life, a greater sense of personal strength, more meaningful relationships, a renewed sense of possibility, a profound spiritual awakening. None of these erase the pain, but they show us that pain is not the end of the story. There is an alchemy happening, quiet, sacred, unstoppable, in every broken place. And yet, there is a choice. Because suffering does not automatically transform us. Some become hardened, bitter, closed. Others become gentle, wise, expansive. The fire of adversity will touch everyone, but it is only in our response that transformation takes root. If we meet our pain with resentment, it will contract us. If we flee from it, it will chase us in quieter ways. But if we meet it with presence, if we let ourselves feel without turning away, ask without needing immediate answers, breathe even when it hurts, something begins to shift. It is not dramatic, not always visible to others, but within, something begins to open. Like the woman who turns her grief into art so that others feel seen. Like the man who, after years of trauma, creates spaces where others feel safe. Like the child who survives unthinkable things and grows up to become the one person who understands when others are hurting. This is not pretending that pain is good. It is allowing pain to become sacred. It is remembering that even in the darkest season, something inside you still wants to grow. The Jewish mystics spoke of tikkun olam, the healing of the world through the transformation of suffering. Not by avoiding the darkness, but by entering it and discovering that it holds the very light we seek. Rumi, the great Persian mystic, put it simply, the wound is the place where the light enters you. It is not comfort that brings us closest to the divine. It is our willingness to stay awake in our discomfort, to let it teach us, shape us, soften us, prepare us. Because when we come out the other side, we carry something different. We become medicine for others. We become a mirror in which others see their own healing is possible. And perhaps most quietly, most beautifully, we become whole. Not because we were untouched, but because we were touched completely and chose to remain open. Part 6. The Sculpting of the Soul. There is a quiet art to becoming. Not the becoming we usually think of, achievements, titles, ambitions, but the becoming that happens when life chisels away what we thought we were, until only what we truly are remains. And suffering, as reluctant a teacher as it is, often holds the chisel. We do not choose the shape our pain will take. It arrives unannounced, an accident, a betrayal, a slow decline, a sharp end. It carves into our sense of self, and in the early hours, all we can feel is the cut. We bleed, we ache, we ask why. But if we stay present through it, if we breathe through the carving, something begins to form that was not there before. Suffering sculpts us. It does not decorate. It does not flatter. It strips. It reveals. It calls forth. It removes what is unnecessary. And slowly, with sacred force, it gives shape to what cannot be taken away. Think of the most extraordinary human beings you have ever met. Not the loudest or the most celebrated, but those who carry a kind of inner gravity, a stillness, a presence that makes you feel safe just by being near them. Ask them where that presence came from, and they will not point to success. They will speak of sorrow, of nights spent on the bathroom floor with no one to hold them, of losses they were certain would destroy them, of pain that brought them to the very edge of meaning and then across it. These people were not born extraordinary. They were sculpted. Pain was their blade. Silence was their kiln. Time was their teacher. What they carry now is not something they built, but something they uncovered, something already within them, brought forth by fire. This is not just true of individuals. It is true of humanity itself. Look through the lens of history, and you will see it. Suffering leaves behind its mark, but it also leaves behind movements, awakening, change. The fall of ancient regimes led to the rise of human rights. Wars gave birth to peace treaties. Revolutions born of oppression gave voice to the voiceless. Each wound became a scar, and each scar, in time, became a signature of strength. Our collective soul, like our individual one, is still being shaped. And today, we are being asked again, not just by our suffering, but by our response to it, what kind of world we are willing to carve from this moment. Will we let the trials of our time harden us into cynicism? Or will we let them chisel us into tenderness? Will we numb ourselves and turn away? Or will we let ourselves be changed? It is not an easy thing to allow the sculpting. It means surrendering what once defined us. It means no longer hiding behind certainty or pride. It means letting go of the image we built for the world. The one that always smiled, always seemed in control. But when the chisel hits the deepest parts of us, and we choose to remain present, we begin to discover a form emerging that feels more like home than anything we had built before. And sometimes the most beautiful part of the sculpture is the crack, the part where the light came in, the part that reminds us we were never meant to be flawless. We were meant to be real. And real means broken in places. Real means reshaped by living. Real means scarred and sacred at once. In Eastern traditions, it is said that suffering in one lifetime may blossom into virtue in another, that each hardship endured with grace becomes a seed for future wisdom. Whether or not one believes in lifetimes, the truth of that pattern can be seen here, now. The mother who buried a child may never heal the way the world defines healing. But perhaps she will, someday, be the only one who knows how to sit quietly beside someone else in that same unbearable ache. without trying to fix it, without trying to speak, just being there. That presence is not small. It is not secondary to the work of the world. It is the work of the world, to become someone who can hold pain without letting it define you. To become someone who can love again after loss. To become someone whose eyes soften when others hurt. Not because they read about it, but because they remember. That is what the sculpting does. And there is no shortcut to that kind of becoming. There is only fire and stillness and the slow shaping of the soul over time. So if you are being carved right now, if something in your life is falling apart, breaking open or collapsing, let this be your reminder. This is not your end. This is your shaping. There is a design beyond your view, and while it may feel like you are being reduced, the truth is you are being revealed, not to the world first, to yourself. Part 7. The freedom within impermanence. If there is one truth that meets every human being in every land, under every sky, it is this: everything changes. No matter how tightly we hold on, no matter how fiercely we resist, the seasons of life continue to turn. What once felt permanent becomes a memory. What once broke us becomes a scar. What once felt impossible becomes the very ground on which we now stand. This is the strange mercy of impermanence. And yet, when we suffer, it is the one truth we most forget. Pain convinces us it will last forever. Grief tells us we will never smile again. Loneliness insists it is our final state. In the midst of suffering, the illusion of permanence can feel overwhelming. We stop believing that the sun will rise again, or that our own laughter might someday return to us. But even in the darkest night, time moves. Even in the deepest ache, healing stirs. The mystics remind us, this too shall pass. These are not empty words. They are reminders from those who have walked the same valleys, the same shadows, the same questions. In Buddhist teaching, the word anicca speaks to the impermanence of all things. Joy, sorrow, fear, hope. They rise, they fall, they pass. Nothing stays, not even the worst moment of your life. It too is moving, breathing, evolving into something else. And what remains through it all? What is untouched by gain or loss, birth or death, praise or silence? Only the witness. Only that unshakable center within you. What some call the soul, others awareness, others simply presence. You may feel pain, but you are not the pain. You may feel fear, but you are not the fear. You may endure a great breaking, but you are not broken. You are the one aware of all that comes and goes. You are the sky, and every storm is just passing through. This shift in perception is not a spiritual bypass. It is a return to reality, the deeper reality. The one where identity is no longer tethered to temporary things. The one where stillness can be found in the center of chaos. The one where freedom is not the absence of pain, but the remembrance of who you are within it. It is not that suffering disappears. It is that its grip on you loosens. You learn to breathe again, to rest in the witness, to cry without losing yourself in the crying, to hold space for what hurts without believing it is all you will ever know. And this is where the greatest transformation takes place. Because when you stop running from pain, it stops chasing you. When you stop fearing endings, life begins again. You become a different kind of human, not above suffering, not untouched by grief, but grounded in something deeper than either. You become a soul who can walk through fire and still radiate light. You become someone who can say to others from a place of lived knowing, you will survive this. You will not always feel this way. You are stronger than this moment, not because you read it in a book, but because you became it. This is the quiet revolution, the one that does not make headlines, the one that happens in living rooms and hospital beds, in therapy chairs and empty churches, in lonely walks and whispered prayers. It is the slow, sacred remembering that nothing, not even suffering, can steal what you truly are, and that within you, even now, something eternal is holding all of this with tenderness. So, if you are in the middle of the fire, let this truth settle gently on your heart. You are not being punished. You are being shaped. You are not lost. You are being returned to yourself. You are not broken. You are becoming whole. And no matter what this moment feels like, no matter how deep the ache, no matter how silent the heavens seem, you are still held by something larger than pain, held by the very source of life itself. When you emerge, and you will emerge, you will not be who you were before. You will be something quieter, something stronger, something infinitely more honest. You will have touched the eternal, and the world will feel it in you. Thank you for being here. If this message found you in a sacred place, a place between what was and what is still becoming, I invite you to share it. May it be a light for someone else walking through their own darkness. Please like, subscribe, or send this episode to a soul who may need it. Until next time, remember, you are not alone in the fire. You are becoming the firelight. Thank you for being here. If this episode touched something in you or brought even a moment of peace, please consider sharing it with someone who might be walking through their own season of silence or fire. And if you'd like to stay close to this space of reflection and remembering, subscribe to the channel. Your presence here matters. Truly, I'll see you in the next episode.